Very good morning, students. In this class, let us discuss about an important topic in NMR, that is Fourier transform NMR spectroscopy, FT NMR spectroscopy. So this Fourier transform NMR spectroscopy is very helpful in getting a good spectrum for solutions with a very dilute concentration and for nuclei with a very low natural abundance. Say for example C13 and N15. So these nuclei, carbon 13, whose natural abundance is 1.1 percentage. So FT NMR in this case will help you to get a better or a clear spectrum with good intensity. Similarly, N15 is another low abundance nuclei with a 0.34 percentage. In this case also FT NMR will be helpful, and FT NMR has changed the application or usage of NMR because of its good advantages like good sensitivity, improving the sensitivity of the instrument, reducing the signal to noise ratio, and for measuring the dynamic processes during the chemical reactions, and for studying the short-lived free radicals through NMR spectroscopy. So first, this is just about how we operate the NMR instrument. You must first know what is a signal to noise ratio. What is S by N, signal to noise ratio? Say, how a NMR spectrum is recorded. So it can be recorded by two means. One is by improving the frequency, by sweeping the frequency and keeping the field constant. This is one way of taking the NMR, and another way is by keeping the frequency constant and sweeping field. So by both means you can take up an NMR. When you increase if you keep the frequency constant, naturally we use about 100 megahertz of frequency for NMR spectrometer, proton NMR spectrometer. So by keeping this frequency a constant one, if you increase the applied magnetic field, that is sweeping the field. So in that case, what happens, upon increasing the magnetic field, the proton starts to resonate depending on the different shielding constant. You might have studied well in the chemical shift. Okay, so for example, when I take the methanol as a spectrum, okay, so the first one which resonates is the hydroxy nuclei, which is a de-shielded nuclei, and then next will be methylene and then the methyl proton. So as a result, what happens, if you increase the frequency, so I will get a hydroxy nuclei and then the methylene and then the methyl proton. So upon increasing the field, if I increase the field, so at first hydroxy proton starts to resonate, okay, and you get a signal, and then next de-shielded is the methylene proton, it starts to resonate, you get the field, and then methylene starts to resonate. Okay, so this one is said to be a signal. This is said to be a signal. So if you take a real NMR spectra, you will observe some ups and downs here. Okay, and it's not a very smooth place. You will get some ups and downs. So this is said to be a signal, and this is said to be a noise. Okay, by increasing the field, you may have to repeat this sweep for hundreds of times. Say for example, for 100, so NMR spectroscopy is recorded from 0 to 10 ppm. Okay, then 10 ppm into 100 hertz. So you may have to 1000 hertz. You will have to apply about 1000 hertz, which takes about each sweep takes about 16 minutes. So you will have to sweep this to 100 times. 1600 minutes are required to sweep to get a clear spectrum, intensified spectrum. Okay, so that will always result in the limitations of the instrument. So you may have to maintain the field constant without any fluctuations in the current, and the instrument may have to withstand the operating conditions, temperature, such that. Okay, so in that case, it takes quite a very long time, okay, to record the spectrum. Okay, so but at the same time, you cannot minimize the noise. Okay, so what the FT-NMR does is, this one is called a continuous sweep, continuous wave, CW-NMR. This is called a continuous wave or a CW-NMR. So you are passing, you are increasing the field strength continuously, okay, in order to resonate each and every proton which is available in the particular compound. Okay, so in that case, the amplifier which is used in the NMR instrument results in the noise. Okay, so that every time upon sweeping, okay, that noise ratio gets improved. Okay, the noise gets superimposed one over the another. As a result of this, you will get an unclear spectrum. So in the case of nuclei with a very low natural abundance like C13 and N15, so the noise ratio is very high that you may not be able to get a spectrum at all. So in that case, in order to improve the sensitivity of the instrument, okay, we must reduce the signal to noise ratio. So for which this wonderful discovery, Fourier transformation, is very much helpful in finding or in getting a good spectra for low concentrated solutions and for nuclei with a very low natural abundance. Okay, so how the signal to noise ratio is reduced and sensitivity of the NMR is improved. So that is by a technique called pulse NMR. So pulse NMR is otherwise called as a FT-NMR. So in this case, we are supplying a pulse. Okay, that means a radiations of very high frequency is called a pulse. So radiations of very high frequency is bombarded, is sent through the compound or nuclei, and by which all the protons which is present in the compound resonates at a time. Okay, so say for example, say I maintain the field constant. In this case, the field is maintained constant. Okay, and frequency, a pulse of frequency is bombarded. Okay, a pulse of frequency, say about 100 megahertz frequency is bombarded in order to get, okay, a signal. So that we will get a time shift. Say for example, so you have this is the pulse, very high frequency pulse, okay, is at in a very short period of time. Okay, so when this is bombarded, okay, you will get all the protons, methylene protons, methyl proton, hydroxyl proton in the case of ethyl alcohol resonates at a time, and they go to when it is bombarded, it goes to a what do you call a population. It changes the population state. Okay, so when resonation takes place, the molecule, when upon applying the frequency, upon applying the field or a frequency, the protons resonates, okay, to a higher energy level. If the energy levels are split, and all the protons will resonate to a higher energy level, then afterwards it starts to relax. It starts to come back to the ground state. Okay, one by one. Okay, so the relaxation of the resonated nuclei is recorded as a function of time. Okay, and that all the data have been given as an input into a computer, where this time factor is converted into a frequency domain factor. So we are converting a time domain spectra into a frequency domain spectra. So by the way, the transformation takes place between time domain spectra into a frequency domain spectra. So that is called the Fourier transformation. I will explain you a little detail. So the time domain spectra is being converted into a frequency domain spectra by using computers. So this is the population formula for a population in change, which can be expected upon resonation. So n by n0 is equal to 1 minus 2 exponential t by t1. T1 is a spin lattice relaxation time. Okay, so n is the number of resonating protons in the ground level, and to the ground level to the higher n0 is the ground level. N is the for a high excited level or higher level. Okay, so this population change occurs upon resonating the nuclei by supplying a field, by supplying the very high frequency of radiation in a very short duration of 10 to 100 milliseconds, okay, or a few microseconds. Okay, so in a very short duration of time, a high frequency radiation is given out. Okay, so that will cover frequencies of all ranges. Okay, so this is the maximum frequency, and these are all the different frequencies which are required or resonated by the different protons. Okay, so this maximum frequency is with, say for example, 95 megahertz or up to 100 megahertz. Okay, which can be alone, this maximum frequency alone can be given in a very small duration of time. So what happens, all the protons resonates within the very high frequency, so which gets recorded. So as a result of this, what happens, you will get a this is for one, if you take this is for one particular resonating proton, so you will get it for a different protons. Okay, so in this, so this is a frequency domain. Okay, so after relaxation, relaxation of the protons at a excited state, so that the decay starts to take place. So that is called FID. It is called free induction decay. Okay, so the free induction decay of a time domain spectra will look like this. Okay, so say for example, this is the frequency of the one particular wave, one particular resonated nuclei, and if you have another particular nuclei, another resonation, it takes place here. Similarly, 2 or 3 or many resonation is superimposed. Okay, so as a result of this superimposition, the time domain spectra will look like this. Okay, so it consists of frequencies of many resonating nuclei. Okay, so that upon relaxation try to give the different time domain spectra. So with the help of a computer, this time domain spectra is converted into a frequency domain spectra. Okay, so the frequency domain spectra will separate. Okay, you will get for each proton you will get one particular frequency. Okay, so this one formula shows you the Fourier transformation of frequency. See, the f of mu is the frequency domain factor, this is the time domain factor. So f of t e power minus 2 power I mu t, okay, is the frequency domain factor. Okay, so otherwise this Fourier transformation can be expressed with the help of this formula also. G of t is the gyromagnetic ratio time factor, or applied you can say this applied field, gyromagnetic ratio multiplied by the applied field is the energy is equal to 1 by 2 pi f of omega frequency. This is the frequency domain, angular frequency e power minus I omega t into dw. Okay, so by the way, you are converting this time domain into a frequency domain factor. You are converting this time domain into a 2 e power 2 power I mu t is a frequency domain factor. So time domain spectra is mathematically, with the help of computational techniques available, the time domain spectra is converted into a frequency domain spectra. Okay, so as a result, the complicated free induction decay time domain spectra is obtained as a very clear and distinct peaks. Okay, so as a result of this, okay, you can record a spectrum of even nuclei of very low natural abundance like C13 and N15 with a good intensity. Okay, even very dilute concentration solutions of very dilute concentrations can be measured. Whose NMR can be recorded with the help of this FT NMR. Okay, so and the very advantage of the technique is it doesn't take much time. It doesn't take much time. In a very few microseconds or in a few hundred milliseconds, the excitation takes place and recorded spectrum can be obtained instantaneously. Okay, so the advantage of, let us once again brief Fourier transform NMR spectroscopy. Okay, so this Fourier transform NMR spectroscopy is about the way how we handle the NMR instrument. NMR can be recorded as a continuous wave method. So by keeping the frequency constant, you can increase the field and resonate the each and every proton, which can be recorded. The sweeps, number of sweeps can be repeated continuously for several times, and then clear spectra can be obtained. Okay, or you can keep the field constant and increase the frequency. So by increasing the field, also the nuclei resonates at a different frequencies. Okay, so in this case what happens is that signal to noise ratio is very high. Okay, as a result the sensitivity of the technique or instrumentation goes down, so the spectra is not recorded very well for solutions of dilute concentration and for nuclei of very low natural abundance. Okay, and it is a tedious, time consuming process that you have to sweep the frequency for a long time. So the signal to noise ratio, S by N ratio, should be minimized in order to get a good spectrum. The signal to noise ratio arises out of amplifier in the NMR spectrometer, which superimposes the noise one over the other. As a result, the spectrum is loses its features. So what should be done is we'll have to minimize the noise, okay, and improve the signal. Okay, the signal to noise ratio should be minimized, and the sensitivity of the instrument should be improved maximum in order to get a very good spectra. So that for which we use a technique called pulsed NMR. So pulsed NMR is otherwise called as a Fourier transform NMR. So here we use a high frequency pulse. Okay, the high frequency pulse of radiation is bombarded in a very short duration of few hundred microseconds, few hundred milliseconds, and it is bombarded, and all the proton resonates at a particular time, reaches the higher energy level. So population differences arises, and then the resonated nuclei starts to relax, try to come back to the ground by emitting, okay, the excess energy gain. So this decay takes place at different time intervals. So the decay is not at different time intervals is noted down. Okay, so this is called a free induction decay, in which all the decay is noted as a function of time. Okay, and this when all the frequencies are noted, so this one superimposes over the other. As a result, the spectrum looks like this. Okay, and this time domain spectra is fed into a computer. The data of time domain is fed into a computer to make the Fourier transformation from time domain into a frequency domain spectra. You get a frequency domain spectra with a well distinct peak. Okay, the advantage of the technique is the time duration. Okay, so in a very short period of time you can record the spectra. The spectra is which possess very low noise and which possess very good sensitivity, and this can be used for studying out the dynamic processes in a chemical reaction. So you can ascertain the mechanistic pathways of chemical reaction which takes place in few microseconds or a milliseconds range. Okay, and also you can study about short-lived radicals or short-lived species. Especially short-lived species can be studied in a very, where, because the bombardment is done only for a few microseconds. So therefore short-lived species can be studied. Okay, so these are the advantages of Fourier NMR spectroscopy. I hope the topic will be very much helpful to you, and if you have any questions you can put it in the comment box. So with that, let us complete this session. Thank you.